This is the Nightwolf howling at you, and today we're looking at my man Raphael, the snake hunter with a short fuse from the Turtles of Grayskull collection, the Masters of the Universe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover line of figures. Right now, I just really like the design of this figure, and I think this may be one of the better ones that they've put out. On the back of the box, we see that Raphael is fighting against Ninjor, and it looks like we've got a foot snake man, but also some mutated insect creatures that kind of look like they might be the original animated series version of Baxter Stockman mutated even further. And if that's the case, that might be kind of cool. But, you know, I've been kind of wondering how they'll do Baxter Stockman in this line of toys if they do get that far, since Baxter Stockman originally was a black guy, and in the original animated series, because they didn't want to have the black villain at the time, they made him a white guy. So which version will they use here?
Shredder may have slithered away once, but Raphael is not about to let him or any of the Snakemen slip through his side once again. The Reptile Wars. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles scout Eternia for Shredder, but find themselves in the middle of King Hiss's plot to make the Snakemen the most powerful force in the universe.
As part of this wave, we have Donatello, the snake hunting tech head, Raphael, the snake hunter with a short fuse, Magana, the snake hunting spy, and Rattler, the mutated snake man creature. You know, like I said, I think this is my favorite figure in this wave, but to be perfectly honest, that's not a high bar to set with this wave either. Up first, we've got the little instruction sheet that shows us all the different parts that come off of him. And we have the mini comic, the Masters of the Universe, the Turtles of Grayskull, Reptile Wars, Part 1,
Snake in the Shadows.
So, in case you want to hear my awful voice reading off this entire thing with some pretty poorly done different voices, you can watch the full thing on the Rattler review. Actually, I wonder, maybe I should set up two boxes at the end of this video, one to the previous figure and one to the Rattler figure, since I keep on mentioning that. But anyway, we have Clamp Champ and Magana out looking for Shredder, who got away after the last incident. Skeletor apparently did as well. While they're hunting, they run into a mutated version of Rattler, who looks 100% better in the comic than he does in the actual toy, which is honest to God kind of sad. And now looking at this artwork up here at Rattler, his chest kind of looks like he's got a vagina on the front of it. But Rattler attacks, and then our boys in green show up, the Ninja Turtles. And I think in a previous video I had mentioned that Leonardo is the only one not wearing his original uniform. But now that I look at it, I think this is actually the third Leonardo pictured here, just because of the sword design. But some more fighting ensues. They find the new Foot Clan soldiers and realize that they're scaly, so the Foot soldiers are in fact Snakemen, meaning this has told them that Shredder has teamed up with the Snakemen, which, to be perfectly honest, doesn't make a whole lot of sense as to why they have foot soldiers in the Snakemen. How much time did Shredder have to teach the Snakemen ninjutsu to be able to have foot soldiers here? Just wondering, because I kind of imagine that, you know, they probably less than a month has passed by, you know, before this stuff happens. Unfortunately, Magana, who had gotten bit by Rattler at some point, I mean, we saw him try to attack a couple pages back, but he apparently did get bit at some point and started changing to become a slave to Rattler. However, Raphael uses his magic armor to demutate and remove the venom from Magana, which, as I've mentioned before, must only work on the Havoc-infused mutagen, because otherwise the turtles are wearing armor that should demutate them as well. But Raphael saves Magana and all are happy. They get to Snake Mountain, and going against the whole ninja stealth thing, they just kind of like walk up the stairs inside like nothing's wrong. Like, hey, just ignore us. We're just here. We're ninjas, so you can't see us. Just pretend we're not here. And then they come upon the porcelain throne. I mean, they come across the Shredder Snakemen version of the slime pit. Meaning now we could get the Horde slime pit. We could get the first version of the Shredder ooze pit. And we can get the Shredder snake ooze pit. What I would suspect they might do in this case is just have it so that you can add the snake detailing to it as a separate piece. If they even make that as a toy, which I hope they do. And now we see that somehow Shredder and Skeletor got mutated together. You know what? Maybe I should take a look at the last comic to see if anything was referenced before then, or if this is just literally just something they pulled out of their butt here. And I believe that figure is coming up, although the figure was just called Shredder, so I don't know if that head on that one is going to be the mutated version there that we see or not. But Shredder attacks the turtles with globs of slime that aren't mutagen based and captures them. And while they're at it, for some reason, the Shredder Skeletor hybrid is going to sacrifice himself to be mutated even further, which, let's be perfectly honest, neither Shredder nor Skeletor would voluntarily do anything like that. But they're going to sacrifice him to Serpos to create a new enemy. But hey, King Hiss decides to join them in the slime bath so that the three of them can be combined together because the slime has no real rules in this version of the universe. So when you combine Shredder, Skeletor, and King Hiss together and a bunch of havoc-infused ooze for mutagen, you get a giant egg that breaks open to this really goofy ass looking Skeletor Hiss Shredder head. Honestly, this is not one of my favorite stories. And of course, on the back, like always, we have Donatello the snake hunting tech head, the snake hunter with a short fuse Raphael, Magana the snake hunting spy, and the mutated snake man creature of Ratlore. Yay. So Raphael comes with a pair of normal size this time, unlike the giant ass single size he got last time. Thank you for actually giving us a decent set of weapons this time. Then he comes with this thing. Now, I was ready to like this, honestly, when I first saw it, until I realized it was a solid freaking piece. I had been expecting this to have a hinge here so it would work like a claw. Because, I mean, that's what we're going to get with Clamchamp, right? His hand weapon is going to have a claw. So I had thought, oh, well, there's no reason for them not to do that with this. But no, they didn't. So this just looks really stupid. It could have been cool, but you dropped the ball, Mattel. Also, this would have looked a lot better if it was painted as well. At least, if they'd painted like the head here, green, red, whatever, just to differentiate it from the rest of it, fine. In fact, though, when you get right down to it, this kind of looks like it's based on the Dark Wolverine Dakin's claw setup, doesn't it? Two at the top, one at the bottom. For our Raphael figure, the size can fit in his back, and this may be the first time one of the turtles could actually fully fit their weapons in there without too much of a hassle. Again, I do think that is one of the dumbest designs that they've done for a holder, but they basically did that to try to be, quote, universal, and it just sucks. Our Raphael here is sporting a brand new head sculpt. The little tie at the back still shifts around, but he's actually got a full-on head covering this time. He does come with the same little shoulder pauldron that Donatello had, and he's got a shoulder pauldron armor here on the side, and he's got what looks like the anti-Snakeman logo from the 2000X series, or at least similar to that. The shell shield comes off. The shoulder pauldron is actually, it looks like, attached to the armor or the harness this time, not to his shoulder. So that'll probably hinder our articulation in a little bit. He does use the same standard body. It's too bad they didn't paint the shell underneath there. It's also, once again, too bad they don't have a way to actually just hook the shell directly to this body. But overall, not too bad. We've also got the same little belt that Donatello came with. So now I'm thinking that this is going to come with all 4 of the Turtles this time. So we'll probably have that on the Michelangelo and the Leonardo, which I believe is in the next wave. And I actually got that box in from Entertainment Earth. So next week we will also have another Ninja Turtle review. Turtle of Grayskull review. But let's go ahead and take a gander here. Looks like he is using the leg from, or the bottom part of his leg looks like it's from Trapjaw and Manny Faces. The upper part was so that same leg armor that we saw on Magana. And looks like the upper arm here also has that. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do the whole arm in the armor. I feel like that would have made more sense if they're going to go that far. Although, I mean, he's only got leg armor and bicep armor. So articulation-wise, the head spins around as per normal. Look down, up. Wiggle it a little bit around because it's got that open ball joint at the end. On this side, we can hinge the arm up. It does not interfere with the up and down, the pauldron. And we can move it down. Of course, once we start to spin it, it does interfere with that on that side. The other side, however, does do the full 360 without an issue. We have a single joint at the wrist, or at the elbow, dumbass. Less than 90 degrees. We can spin it around there. We can spin at the wrist, and it has an in and out hinge. Also, like with the Donatello, the bracer does come off. Oops. I actually do like that design for those. I kind of wish they would implement that in more of the Origins style stuff. We, of course, can do a full 360 spin at the waist. His joint there at the middle is kind of loose. We can kick up about that far. We can kick back about that far. We can bend the knee at around 90 degrees. Luckily, it does not feel like it's going to break like some of the other Origin figures. And we have a little peg there as part of it, so we can spin it around. We can hinge the foot up and down, and we can spin it around. We can also spin at the boot cut, although this is going to be one of those times when it's not really going to make much sense to do some part swapping there. The hinge does have a little bit more reach, though, on the other plain foot because the design of the bottom of this one does interfere with the hinge. Although I'm surprised it didn't interfere with the spin because I think that was an issue with the previous. So that's what I'm thinking, though, is this is kind of designed like it, but it may not be exactly the same. I'll have to try to check that out. Because I do remember, and it might be because of the foot design for the Turtles, actually, that it doesn't get in the way. They may have compensated for that problem. So once again, they give Raphael a really stupid-looking weapon that attaches to his hand. Okay, as I said, this might have been cool if this had actually been hinged here. And you only really needed the bottom one hinged. You didn't need the top to be hinged. That might have actually been pretty cool, but it's kind of lame. But we can toss that aside and give him a set of size. And he can look like the Raphael we all know and love. So I'd also like to point out real quick that they did the nice thing of designing the sai in the hand on this version of Raphael so he can actually hold it in one of the manners that you would hold the sai while you're using it, or especially if you're doing sai tricks. So props to you, Mattel, on that. You did good. And I really do like this figure, especially, I think it is the best one in the wave, but again, I'm biased because Raphael is my favorite of the Ninja Turtles. He comes with a nice standard set of size, and instead of like a gigantic sword-looking one, the same one that Tila had, by the way. Having the full head covering bandana looks pretty cool on him. He looks pretty badass. That head sculpt is, I think, one of the better turtle ones we've gotten so far. And yeah, I think this is a great figure. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you did enjoy this look at this Raphael 2 from the Turtles of Grayskull line, please feel free to smash that like button. And if you want to drop a subscription on here to catch more of my content, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Peace and love.